we fucking go! You're listening to Bread and Circuses.
Was like the mob media, for one, is the entire world populated. Like everybody's on Twitter. Fucking the UK is on Twitter. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
unfortunately.
With Caleb Salvatore.
Well, they can't go to the comedy shows because there's a 2-drink minimum, and you can't mix the Percocet you've been stealing from work with liquor.
And Nick Kohler.
There literally be people in the fucking 80s that didn't know that nutting in a girl would make her pregnant.
No one's asked that question. What did those families do to provoke Alex Jones like that?
You know what'll solve all of these racial police protests? A Pepsi.
What the fuck is up, friends? Welcome to Bread and Circuses. We are back. We were going to have Simone Biles as a guest, but we don't promote quitters on this podcast. So we've got Jacob Wilson.
We settled for Jacob Wilson. Jacob, I hope you can live up to Simone Biles.
Well, Jacob does not quit in the middle of comedy sets, so
that's true. I keep
Dude,
going.
So this episode is going to air in a little while.
But yeah, it'll be a couple weeks.
We just did the episode before here where Caleb was telling me about your guys' fucking Saturday escapade.
Friday.
Well, I guess technically it was Saturday too because you guys are out till like 2 a.m.
The Chili's shit went down on Friday.
That was over and done within 5 minutes.
5 minutes is a long time when it comes to like an interaction like that, though, man.
But it was just like his explanation of what was happening because we're loud, whatever. It's 9:30 at a Chili's on Friday night. What do you expect to happen? That's the most excitement they're going to get.
Yeah.
And how long? And he tells us to be quiet. Like, I can't have a conversation with my mother over here. Go talk to your mom in a booth, and also not at these hours.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Go to Village Inn if you want quiet, dude. It's not like Chili's plays loud music.
And if it's going to be this late, go to IHOP, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. You could literally go sit out in the parking lot and it'd probably be more quiet than a public fucking restaurant at 9:30 and I don't know, Friday, bro. Well, like the fuck out of here.
And that's like we were talking on the last one. The guy said he was going to call the cops on him.
What?
I'm like, what? Yeah, call the cops and tell them that some guy is being loud in a Chili's and they're going to show up and they're going to fine you for wasting their fucking time.
Right. The dispatcher is going to call you a fucking idiot.
Please don't waste our time anymore.
They're being loud.
Yeah.
And a Chili's.
Sir, can you go sit in a booth?
Real emergencies.
9:30 at night on a Friday, a couple hours from now, there might be a couple bar fights the cops have to break up. They might have to stop some people breaking into houses. But sure, let me divert police resources to the Chili's in Oakview. Come fucking tell these people to shh.
Maybe that's why the cops took so long to stop the naked man outside my apartment. They were stopping Chili's.
They were at Chili's. They were you did have a naked man.
They were at Chili's going, shh. He's having a conversation.
Call this dispatcher. All right, like, hey, there's a naked drugged out man outside my apartment. Can you please come get him? Like it was a lost dog or something. Like he's just running around. And
but here's the difference. I would actually be sad if somebody shot the lost dog.
I know.
I'm curious.
The naked drug. It's like
this naked drug guy. How big was his dick?
I'm gonna assume it was below average because he kept defending it. So
defending it.
So here's like the whole because I never told you this story. Okay, so there's a drugged out naked man outside my apartment. One time I forgot something in my car. I get up. I walk down my apartment and I'm about to I'm coming on the back half of the apartment. There's like a fire door in the middle. So I'm coming to the back half and I reach the end of the hallway and I'm looking at the glass door. There's just this scrawny, skinny, probably weighs like 120 pounds, bald. And he's just posting up on the door, just covering his dick. And I just go right back upstairs. And I'm like, I need something on my car because my girlfriend was with me. I was like, I need something on my car, and there's a naked man at the door.
Where do you live?
Vanderbilt Apartments.
Where is that?
Near 120th and Blondo.
He could say that. He could say that on the like the address because he's moving. So.
Yeah, that's not a bad area.
Well, here's the thing: the Biltmore's right across the street, but they cost $200 more for the same apartment.
Yeah,
and they're much nicer.
Here's the thing about Omaha too: is like no matter what part of Omaha you're in, you're always like a couple blocks away from like a small bad area of town. Like
literally, yeah.
And the thing is, like, this dude was just like, he was shot. He's like, "What is it, man? Like, it's a penis. Like, everyone has one. It's fine, man. It's just a normal penis. There's nothing wrong with it." And I'm just...
He looked like Ari Shaffir too. I've seen the video.
It was like that scene in Signs where like the
alien on the roof.
Across. You're watching the video and then he's just like walking across the lawn and he's laughing.
There's a fucking orchestra hit when he walks by, like, boom.
And my girlfriend's like, "I want to go see where he is because we lost him." I was like, "No, don't go outside.
Yeah, don't go look for him. Yeah,
naked man, don't go outside." She opens the door and it sounds like the Joker laughing in the distance, and I'm like, "Get back inside."
Yeah, no,
we're not dealing with this.
Jesus Christ.
The cops finally come, like literally 5 minutes after he disappears. They finally come, and it's generic cop dude, has buzz cut, big mustache.
Yeah, and he just takes notes.
And he's like looking at me like, "Is really going on right now?" I'm like, "Yes." Like, why would I call you?
Yeah, no, I'm prank calling the cops at 2 a.m. Yeah.
And so, first of all, they enter more than one apartment.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're allowed to enter more than one apartment.
And they
did.
I don't think you're allowed to enter at all without a warrant, dude.
Yeah.
They didn't have a warrant. We just I don't know which one the drug dude lives in. Maybe if you were here 20 minutes sooner, you would find it.
Yeah.
But they searched the entire complex, and eventually he's literally in the supply closet on like apartment on the first floor right by our door. He was there for the entire time. They searched the entire complex. He was just in the supply closet.
Did they arrest him?
They took him. I think he
probably
arrested.
Went to the mental institute.
So they took him to the hospital because he was out of his mind. So they had to get him off of it.
Yeah.
And so he drives a Prius. I know this. And
God damn.
Well, Priuses are kind of expensive, so he's doing something right. You know what I mean?
It's a beige Prius with like a skull dangling from the rearview mirror.
Does he live there?
Yeah.
Oh.
And the one day, like, the Prius moved, and I'm like, "Oh, he's back." And so like every time I see him now, I just have this image of like the naked man. But like one time I forgot my keys in my apartment and I need to get back in. So I'm waiting. And I text my girlfriend. I was like, "Hey, can you come? Like, you have the extra set of keys." And as I'm waiting, guess who walks out to save the day?
The naked man.
The naked man walks out fully clothed.
You might have saved his life, man. He might have really tripped out and got fucked up or something like that.
What do you have to take to get
honestly
naked?
He's probably a schizo off his meds. They got off his meds.
Maybe
like that'll happen.
He probably wouldn't be living by himself if he was schizo.
There's schizophrenics that can function when they get medicated long enough. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe.
Dude, I want to let
he huffed a bunch of paint.
I want to let some people let that sink in. The naked man has a girlfriend. And some of you guys out there can't get laid. I just want you guys to remember that.
Remember, you can get high off something.
He might have been doing spice too. Spice makes people do shit like that.
Frolic around your apartment complex completely nude.
Spice will do that. Yeah, Chandler Jones. Chandler Jones from the Patriots. That happened to him. Spice will fuck you up, man. That's no joke. That's synthetic weed shit. Yeah,
he'd jump out the window too, like be all bloody and shit from broken glass.
Terrible.
No, it's dead serious, man. There's like dudes on in the military like 10 years ago. I was like, this is more like 8. That stuff used to not be detectable in a piss test. So a lot of dudes in the military would smoke like spice instead.
Because you could buy it at a gas station.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there were like dudes like jumping out of windows in the barracks and shit like that, like just tripping out of their mind on spice.
You ever done it?
I've never.
No, fuck that shit. Up, the kid that shot my high school up was on spice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that shit. It's no joke. It's terrible for you, and it's like a dangerous alternative to marijuana.
People really trip out on that stuff, especially when you do a lot of it.
I can't understand how marijuana is illegal, but you could buy that shit at Quick Shop for years. You know what I mean? Like that's fucking crazy to me.
All right, on the next episode, we're gonna do
we're all just gonna do spice
tests of all the different pills you buy at gas stations.
That would be a fun YouTube series to just take all the pills you buy at gas stations.
Energy pills, caffeine pills, Creta, like whatever pills the gas station selling at the counter.
Dude,
you're gonna buy all the different ones.
Your fucking heart would explode, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do
Medical
people
expert
actually
on site.
buy those pills? Like, I can't imagine like anyone like those got to be like truckers that are trying to long haul.
I know the truckers don't have the caffeine pills because they still drive slower than the speed limit.
Yeah, no shit.
So I know they don't have it.
I just can't imagine any self-respecting person buying.
Do the gas stations up in Omaha? Because I don't really remember off the top of my head. Do they sell male enhancement pills? Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
ones here sell the extends. I'm like, who the fuck is buying this
Yeah,
shit
no, dude.
at a
Like,
gas station?
why would you? If you're getting dick pills at a gas station, I promise you're gonna get dick cancer.
Have you ever
I
been
promise.
into a brand new built Mega Saver and it looks like it's been there for 10 years?
Yes.
It could be the grand opening, and you walk in, and it looks like it's been there for 10 years.
The
Dude,
fucking bathroom floor has a bunch of scuff marks and
There's
stuff. Or people fighting and fucking in there.
There's
like-
no shit. There's a Mega Saver up or not far. It's a couple miles from me. They bought out a Quick Trip, and fucking it's like they just didn't know what to do with the rest of the space because like half of it's just empty, and they like put like I don't know like if they sent someone to Target and had them buy the $2 Chuck wine because they just have this big old rack full of cheap wines just sitting there in the middle with nothing else around it.
I just don't understand also the selling of iPhones and Samsungs, the cheap ones, and then they buy the cheap like lights that girls use in their college dorm rooms, and they just put them underneath the glass and light it up. Like, look at this. I'm like, I can see the fingerprints on the screen. Like those
places are run. The owners are Russian, right?
Mhm.
The Mega Savers,
Mega Savers,
definitely mafia, definitely Russian mob.
laundering money.
So?
Oh,
You
absolutely.
can launder so much money through
a
there.
gas station. That's
Yeah,
why
100%.
that's like lots of financial institutions won't even take them because it's such a risk for that, like for money
All
laundering.
for counterfeit too.
Yeah, it's like it's fucking crazy, dude. And but yeah, it's like fireworks is another one.
You know how like
Money laundering.
You know how like gas stations have like quotas for like their rewards cards programs and everything?
Yeah.
Mega Savers have quotas for how many times you get robbed throughout the year. Because every time I've seen like, oh, gas station got robbed.
It's always a
like,
Mega Saver.
Mega Saver. There's you can put money down. It's going to be a Mega Saver.
There was
that's one of the things I like about being down here in El Paso, man. Is like all the homeless people that hang out in front of gas stations down here are at least like really nice. Like they don't have to deal with the cold, so they're not assholes to everyone. Like when you walk into the gas stations and stuff up in Omaha, man, the homeless people are like fucking dicks to you.
they're crazy.
Like, yeah,
threatening.
they aggressively ask you for money, and then when you're like no, they're like whatever, man.
Fuck you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So our area is pretty quiet. It should be, but the problem is we live right next to the fucking interstate. So like I'm going to get the mail in my apartment complex, and this guy walks up to me tweaking on something with a garbage bag full of clothes, right? Not even a good garbage bag, like the cheap knockoff Walmart ones, right?
The
and he
black
walks up.
ones.
Yeah. No, it was a white one. The black ones are sometimes better. It depends
The
what you
black
get,
ones
though.
with the really thick red
Yeah.
handles on them. They got like a pre-tear in them on the bottom
Yeah.
when you get them out of the box.
Well, so he walks up to me and he's like, "Hey, can I use your cell phone?" And I went, "I don't have my cell phone on me." Like, I truly didn't. Like, I left it in the house. I was just going to get the mail. It's like, "I'm sorry, I don't have my cell phone." Of course you don't have your fucking cell phone. Nobody wants to give me their fucking phone. Fuck you, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't have my cell phone, but I do have my gun. So I suggest you fucking back off. Like, relax.
The Quick Trip near me, near my apartment, there's one dude who always goes in for scratch off lottery tickets at 8 o'clock in the morning.
The worst. And they hold the line up because they play it at the counter.
They play it at the counter, and then they'll check and be like, "Is this a winner? Is this a winner?"
Yeah.
And I'm like,
and then
go
they
to work.
They get like the free ticket out of one of them, so they have to ring up another one.
Again.
Oh
And then
my God.
like there'll be random guys that'll show up. This one dude had like a brace and he had neck tattoos, and he's like hobbles over to me. He's like, "Hey man, can you go buy my cigarettes? They're on the counter." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm not. No." And I just like walk right by him. He's like, "Screw you, man. Do I look like I'm not too young? I'm 40 something." And I'm like,
Buy your own cigarettes.
"Buy your own
dickhead.
cigarettes. You have the cash. Just because you don't have your ID."
Yeah, they're not gonna think. Yeah, they're not gonna card you, man. Like,
Oh, I hate it.
It's-
But like, I went to Colorado Springs not too long ago for like a mini vacation, and I forgot there's different cultures of like how like homeless people act.
yeah,
Compared to Omaha and out there.
call it Denver. They're aggressive. Denver, I was in fear for my safety.
Really?
Yes, they're bad in Denver. Colorado Springs, probably not so much. That's more like an Air Force town.
It's just like when you area with like super nice weather,
Yeah,
they're just everywhere, and you have to be careful.
yeah. No, they're in Denver. They're aggressive. Like you feel like I told you, we did that show in Denver and we walked to a Chiba Hut to get food. And we walked through because like the homeless literally take over entire blocks in Denver, right? Like there's entire blocks of abandoned buildings with just tents of homeless people. It's like
that in LA too, man.
Yeah,
and they're pretty aggressive in LA too, but they think they're real smart over
Austin's
there.
the same way, I've heard.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember being in Austin and just driving underneath like the interstates. They're campsites.
Yeah, dude, you walk through them, it's literally like a haunted house.
A lot of them keep dogs too, to like, so you're more sympathetic to them.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, you walk through it and they're fucking like, they're jumping out and they're yelling shit at you. And some of them get in your fucking face and stuff. And it's just like, you're genuinely in fear for your safety. I'm like it's like a haunted house, but the actors can actually hurt you. And they're scarier than the zombies they have. It's like,
so you're down in El Paso. I actually applied for a school near there. For one of their GA positions, and it's like it's like Sol Ross University or something like that.
Is it up in New Mexico or something, or is it
no?
in Texas?
It's like 40 minutes away from El Paso, and I was like looking down there because like I saw the university and everything. I applied for the GA position. I didn't get it. I got a different one, and I'm like looking. I was like, what's the nearest big city? And then also it's like, oh, El Paso. I'm like, I'd have to say no.
No, man, El Paso is a nice city. Like, I really like it down here.
It was the center of the new Purge movie.
I actually want to see that.
Yeah, you should go see it. And the new Purge movie takes place in El Paso.
I didn't know. That's crazy, man. Yeah. Maybe they wanted it to have like cowboy town vibes.
It was kind of like a cowboy thing. Yeah, it's actually pretty good. It's
because it's the Purge forever. It's like the Purge is over, and then the
Purge ends. People just keep killing.
Yeah, they just keep killing.
Yeah, I like the Purge movies. I could do without the politics, you know what I mean? Because the Purge movies do get super political, and I don't feel it's necessary to make it a good movie. But they're still good. Like I'm one of those people. I can look past politics in movies. You know what I mean? And I know some people that like they won't watch like certain sporting events because one guy was disrespectful. I'm like, dude, or they won't listen to certain artists because of their politics. I'm like, dude, I don't have enough time to keep up with that shit. If I enjoy the product they're putting out, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna listen to it.
Make a better product.
Who fucking cares? Yeah, I'm like, I really like try. I don't care what the bassist from Limp Bizkit thinks about the 2020 presidential election. If they make a song I like, I'm gonna listen to it. Like that's too exhausting to live a life like that.
But like that's a real thing that conservatives like ignore because they always like for the past 10, 15 years are just like, the culture war doesn't matter. The culture war isn't a thing we need to put our focus on. Who cares what celebrities saying? No one cares what celebrities saying. It's like actually a lot of people care what they have to say.
I don't.
You may not, but they can influence a ton of people.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're mad about the movies, then make a good movie.
Yeah, make a good.
Well, it feels like 20 years ago. 10 even. Maybe like 10, 15 years ago, it's like it felt like the conservatives fucking ran everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you couldn't make movies like 20 years ago doing shit like talking shit about Jesus and stuff like that because fucking everyone that was in control of all that
was that before because like right now the conservatives are on they don't really have a lot. It's like what are you gonna do, make a movie with Gary Oldman, Kevin Sorbo again?
They're gonna make the last real movie like that I can think of is like the one that they came out with about Benghazi or whatever, like when the election was going on.
That was a good movie.
That's like the last like conservative
with Jim from no. There was another one. You're talking about the one with Jim from The Office, right?
John Krasinski was in it, and the other guy who played Roy from The Office.
Roy was in it. Yeah.
And
what if they had Dwight Schrute was like the commander?
He plays a CIA operative.
Yeah, fucking Michael Scott's it's Steve Carell. It's just an Office reunion, but with guns and explosions.
Like instead of Paul Giamatti, it's Steve Carell as the CIA guy.
I never saw it because I was overseas when that movie came out, but I remember like reading about it.
It's a propaganda piece.
Yeah, I was like, this is a total propaganda piece.
It's just as much propaganda as The Purge. Like it truly is. It's not. Like, if you want, like, a movie that's just dumb action with no politics involved, watch The Expendables.
The Expendables,
fantastic movies.
As far as, like, best action movies, like, in recent
it's great
history, like, Expendables are your good, fun, sit-down action. The John Wick series is still...
John Wick, great. Yeah, that's another one. Dumb violence. John Wick. There's no message to it. It just fucks people up.
I'll say this, even though a lot of people don't like these movies, but the Fast and the Furious movies are kind of like that too.
Terrible.
Like, they're just so over the top and fun. It's like it doesn't matter that they're not.
I haven't
good.
seen any of them past Paul Walker dying.
They try to outdo themselves on ridiculousness. The last one I saw was the one after he died. Well, it was the last one he was in, and there was a scene. They're in Cuba, and Vin Diesel's car explodes. And he drives it backwards on fire and wins a race, drives it off a cliff into the water, and jumps out before it falls into the ocean.
That's fucking awesome, dude.
So ridiculous.
But
they're so self-aware. Like,
I know.
I'm watching the trailer of like the new one, and he like catches a winch on his car, and like it snaps, and it pulls him like a slingshot and launches the car in direction. I'm like, you're telling me that wouldn't break the axle when he did that?
The Fast and the Furious is truly the Nickelback of movie series. Like,
I don't know if they're like the. Yes. I don't know if they're like
maybe that's
Nickelback.
Transformers.
They're more of like the Limp Bizkit because they're totally fucking aware.
Yeah,
they don't care.
Yeah, maybe Transformers is Nickelback or Avengers.
The first Transformers movie like had its mistakes, but like it's awesome.
I like the first one's really good.
Because
the second one's
they
good
tried
too.
something new. They did a very good job with the actual transforming and everything. Like it's great. And then they go to the second one. I'm like, this is terrible.
I think the problem with the Transformers movies is Michael Bay movies in general are kind of like once you've seen one, you've kind of seen the style for all of them, and it's like. I guess that's kind of true with the Fast and the Furious movies a little bit.
I mean, every director has a style, though.
Yeah, but Michael Bay movies is like you kind of get sick of just explosions for 2 hours. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's always like the same type of explosion. Like, there's a lot of sparks. It's like when I watched Power Rangers as a kid, and then it's like explosion. They're just sparks.
And the guys that nobody dies in Power Rangers, they all just lay there and they're like wiggling their heads around and shit.
Hey, the Power Rangers movie, if you had the lowest expectations possible, you'd enjoy it. And that's what I did. Like, I came in to watch that, and I was like, this is going to suck. And then after watching it, I'm like, all right.
Dude, that was me with Space Jam, with the new Space Jam movie. I went into it knowing it wasn't going to be a cinematic and masterpiece or anything. I knew it was just going to be fucking LeBron James playing basketball with the cartoons. I was like, this movie's going to like it.
So let me ask you, in the new Space Jam movie, does LeBron pass up the last shot of the game to Lola Bunny? Or not Lola Bunny?
I'm not going to spoil it.
Lola Rabbit, whatever her name is. What's Bugs Bunny's girlfriend's name? Lola. Yeah.
Lola Bunny.
Lola Bunny. I got it right the first time. Yeah. It didn't sound right when I said it.
They ruined. They see what they took away. She's not thick anymore. She's not that thick '90s bunny anymore.
The last 3 minutes of the game, LeBron subs himself out for Yosemite Sam.
Instead of the Monstars like being like take the talent, they're like copy paste like monster versions of players. And the Anthony Davis version is really funny looking. Yeah, the Anthony Davis is like. It's like their persona and everything. It's like Anthony Davis is like Klay Thompson and like Chris Paul and everything. But like the Anthony Davis one's like a big bird. He's like tall as fuck, but we still got a unibrow and everything. Like
that's not as fun. I liked it better when they stole it and they're trying to play like NBA games and you just can't catch a ball.
Yeah, I cannot wait until the first. They'll never outdo the first one. That was a classic. They caught lightning in a bottle.
It's funny because I watched the first one too, like a couple weeks ago, like getting myself ready to watch the new one, and I was like, man, you really got to watch this movie through the lens of like a kid because this movie is really not that great.
No.
But it's fun. It's a fun one. Yeah.
That's I can't wait for Space Jam 3 and 4 with Kevin Durant. In the first one, they lose to the Monstars, and the second one, he joins them. He goes
Kevin Durant joins the Monstars. Not even a monster version of him. It's just like
it's just Kevin Durant
and Lightning and Kevin Durant at center.
Yeah, they lose and they like set up this big sequel. He's gonna have this redemption, and in the first 5 minutes of the fourth one, it's him signing a contract with the Monstars. It's like a press conference.
My choice.
Dude, you want to talk about someone who single-handedly destroyed his legacy? That Golden State shit will follow him forever. Like that.
I think if he ends up winning a chip with the different, like maybe with the Nets or something like that, it might help him.
I still don't think it will. I think that people that will always hinder him. As far as his legacy.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, like it happened with LeBron too. He went to a super team and won a bunch of chips. So.
LeBron went and formed his own. He didn't go. So like LeBron went to Miami because he couldn't get past the Celtics, right? What Kevin Durant did would have been the equivalent of LeBron signing with the Celtics.
I guess it's kind of like him going to New Jersey. It's kind of like him going to Brooklyn. And I mean, even everyone was like talking all this good shit about the Brooklyn Nets and everything being like so crazy. But like, I mean, dude, a lot of their players on their super team were like past their prime old guys. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Basketball's a cool sport.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not a basketball fan.
As Jacob's wearing a fucking baseball uniform.
I have a game today. But I just don't.
Are you playing or coaching?
I'm playing, dude.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah.
Do you play? Did we ever find out if you played in the same league as that guy I went to high school
No, I don't think I do because he was the Dodgers was his team.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, like our so we're the Athletics. As you can tell. There's the Braves that were playing today, Giants, Red Sox, Twins.
with? Yeah.
Jacob is the Oakland Oz.
Oakland Oz.
No, I like this jersey.
So are you one of those guys that takes rec sports super seriously?
Well, yeah, I'm competitive. All right.
Yeah, look at that uniform he's wearing, dude.
You
That's
saw
like
me
a
with
legit
cornhole last night. I just focused, man.
We used to play rec basketball, and we would always name our team Ashley Schaefer BMW, which for those of you that have seen haven't seen Eastbound and Down, that's Will Ferrell's car dealership in the show. So it's a super like obscure thing. Like it's very niche. Not everyone's seen Eastbound and Down. And people were so confused. They thought we all worked for a car dealership and it was like our work team. They're like, so where's you guys' dealership located at?
Is that the one where he has like silver white hair?
Yeah. No, that's a Ric Flair.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a Ric Flair character. That's who it was based off of.
Bloopers of that, and it
feel
takes
it in
them
my
30
plums.
minutes to get through one scene.
I own you. You are my possession.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. His character, like he's like he plays this like it's a Ric Flair parody, but he's like also super racist. So he shows up to Black Biker Week in Myrtle Beach with all these black guys, right? And with his black biker gang to fuck up Kenny Powers. And Daryl from The Office is the leader of the black biker gang. And Ashley Schaefer's there. He's like, because Daryl's got Kenny Powers pinned up on the car and he's going to hit him with a baseball bat. And he goes, damn it, Rez, break his arm. Do it. He's like, I'm your master. You are my possession. You will carry out my will and you will feel my lash.
And then they fucking kill him.
They surround him and they kill him. And he's like, don't rise up on me now. You creatures. You lesser thans. It's the most ridiculous scene.
I want to see Eastbound Down so bad because I enjoyed the good baseball.
If you weren't moving, I would give you my Blu-rays. I have them all on Blu-ray.
There we go.
But I want them back.
Yeah.
But no, it's seriously, it's great. It's so ridiculous. He goes to Mexico to play like minor league baseball because he's been shunned from America.
Right.
And he comes out to the Hulk Hogan, I am a real American. And he's got like the American flag on his back. And it's like a 20-minute intro to go out and pitch. And then he the guy hits a home run on him or something like that. It's like, but yeah.
It's usually how it goes.
Yeah. It's that's the thing. It's just like, so no, I was this guy I went to high school with. He was a weirdo, right? He was one of those guys who played every sport but sucked at every sport. And he's now in this rec baseball league, and he will he's easily got $1,000 worth of gear, right? Easily. And he'll post shit on Facebook. He'll post like on his Instagram, it's like motivational quotes, like with him like photoshopped and shit like that. It's like him like going up to bat at a rec baseball game with no one in the audience, and it's got like a Winston Churchill quote in the background, and like he'll post on Facebook.
The worst thing about it, that democracy is a 20-minute conversation. That's his Winston Churchill quote.
Yeah, but then he'll post on Facebook and be like, I can't wait for this season to end, and someone will be like, why? And he goes, I'm batting my batting average was 195 with 26 strikeouts, and someone's like, Blake, it's rec baseball. They don't even record those stats. Like, calm the fuck down.
We do it just because like we're trying to be competitive, so we figure out our lineups. But it's not like we're posting on the website or anything. $1,000 worth of gear. Like I go to a discount baseball store to buy my bats and everything.
Yeah,
all the best baseball players come from countries where they play games not wearing shoes. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I watched the interview of Mariano Rivera, the game's best closer, talk about how he made a glove of a milk carton.
Yeah, literally.
Like you just can't be ridiculous. But like, oh man, baseball's back in the Olympics. I'm excited, even though all the players on Team USA are like your number one prospects in the minors or guys out of free agency like 3 years.
Yeah.
So you have these old guys like, let me tell you what it's like to get to the bigs, and the new kids are like, dude,
They're like
your time
terrified.
is done. You weren't even that great. Like, I'm gonna be better than
That's
you.
like when you first start out at comedy and you meet this guy that's been doing it for 9 years and he's still like an opener and he's like trying to explain it to you.
I've been in the game for 25 years.
Oh, we all know who that is. The monster of comedy. So we got it. So there's like all these people that have these nicknames, right? That they've made up for themselves in comedy. We hatched a great idea the other night when we went out drinking. We're going to trademark all of their nicknames and start mailing them cease and desist letters.
That's hilarious.
You can expect to start paying us royalties.
Yeah, we need royalties if you're going to continue
you gotta
this.
use royalties.
Trademark his name. In
so
it
Justin
too.
Healy has an LLC, so we'll put it under that. So like, I'm going to throw Justin under the bus. Like, I'll be a silent partner in this, but I don't want anything to do with it.
Get royalties off their show that makes $200.
Yeah, they owe us like $60 every time they do a show.
Well, I can't make money off this. We should have thought about that.
You should have thought about that. You should have trademarked him.
You know what?
You should have thought of that. You should have thought of that before you stole our intellectual property.
Stole my likeness.
That is our intellectual property, and if you're bagging off of it without paying your dues, you're no better than a common thief.
The thing is, like, I don't think like it goes to their head when they create nicknames or they create these posters or these graphics, and they think, yeah, that's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to continue with this. Like, dude, if you're going to use it, make money.
Let me
$60 and you can.
Let me ask you something. Has there ever been a comic with a nickname? And I'm not talking like Louis C.K. I'm not talking.
Well, I think there's a difference
talking
between nickname and stage name.
Well, there's this. So like.
It's like Vegas.
Everyone knows.
Like
So
Amazing Jonathan does. But
everyone knows like Salvatore isn't it's my middle name, right? That's still my fucking name. It's not something. It's not like I'm going out there calling myself. It's something ridiculous, right? Like Caleb, fuck with me. You know I got it, Salvatore. Like it's something ridiculous like that, right?
Mr.
Gooch.
Mr. Gooch to you.
There's a guy that calls himself Mr. Gooch to you. How many comics with that name have you heard of being successful? You know what I mean? Like it's like. And I would say it about Lavetti Vegas, but it comes off the tongue nice. I think
Lavetti Vegas is a stage name. There's plenty of comedians.
That's a stage name. Yeah, that's not something ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's
nicknames and stage names are completely different. And
sorry, no. I was gonna say I can't remember Lavetti's like actual name.
Trenton Wainwright.
Yeah, Trent. So I imagine if his name was like Trenton, the Magic Man Wainwright.
Yeah.
There's
there's a guy that Millie gets slapped silly. That's what that guy calls himself. The sex trafficker.
Yeah.
Millie gets sex trafficked silly. So apparently he like ambushed Tony Rock at the Funny Bone, lied about his identity to get backstage to talk to Chris Rock's little brother. And he's like, I'm Millie, get slapped silly. I'm a comedian, I'm a rapper, I'm a singer, I'm a cook, I'm a show producer, and like he does all these things, right? And Tony Rock's like, what's your real name? And he tells him his real name, and he goes, okay, go by that. Because who do you think, like, if you're like up for a movie, who do you think they're gonna book? Someone who goes by the real name or Millie gets slapped silly? Like, what would they rather see on the?
I can't wait to see
credits?
the opening credits of the newest blockbuster. It says Millie gets slapped silly.
We should make a documentary.
I literally think the only comedian that has like a really goofy stage name like that he goes is like Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah,
like,
I guess there's always exceptions, right?
Yeah,
like people that get sick even though they have the COVID vaccine.
It's the exception that proves the rule. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But no, like that's the thing.
DC Young Flyboy or whatever his name is. Yeah, I mean he's somewhat famous.
Cedric the Entertainer.
That's Cedric the Entertainer. I mean that's almost like a Louis C.K. Like it's still your name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a good name for a comedian too.
Yeah.
Like it's not like anybody really did that before him. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. You know, there's exceptions to the rules, but for the most part, it's not like hip hop. And I think that's what people don't realize is you're not a rapper. You can't be Lil whatever. You know, it's not the same thing.
Yeah, I have a very safe name for my very safe comedy that I tell a lot. Like, so it'll be fine. I'm gonna have to find time when I get down there to do it because I'm within 3 hours of Nashville, Knoxville, and Chattanooga.
Yeah.
So I'm like right in the mix of all that.
Yeah.
And I hear
Nashville's got a good scene, I've heard. Yeah.
And I even hear like Chattanooga can be fun.
Yeah.
So it all depends.
Yeah,
You're even not too far from Louisville too, dude.
Louisville.
Yeah, Louisville. They gotta sound like.
I do want to go to Louisville.
Is that how it's pronounced officially?
That's how it's officially. Louisville Slugger. That's where the factory's at.
I've been there, man. They get mad at you if you go like if you say Louisville. They're like, no, it's Lou. they gotta say with like moving your tongue and mouth.
It's like The Sopranos, the gabagool.
It's like, hey,
that's actually they're saying if Zach Bravietti told me last night if you watch it with the subtitles on, it says Capicola.
Really?
They're saying the Capicola, yeah.
Is that what it actually is?
Gabagool.
The gabagool.
Gabagool.
The gabagool. I will have the gabagool.
Hey, Tony, give me a fucking meatballs up, all right.
It is a great TV show. I wish Italians were real.
I'm going to lay it on the line. I don't enjoy Italian mafia movies or shows.
You fucking piece of shit.
I don't. I just offend.
He sounds like a racist. You're
Yeah.
canceled.
I don't.
No, you can make fun of Italians. It's okay.
I go back to my heritage, the moonshiners. All right, that's
Italians were bootleggers, man. They're one and the same. That's how the mob got started, was bootlegging.
I'm used to it with being German too. Germans are like the universal bad guys.
Well, yeah, you probably don't want to watch movies about, at least in like mob movies, we're glorified. You know, Germans, you're not glorified in any movies.
Not really.
Any movie that glorified the Nazis would be banned from pretty much any. Well, no, Sound of Music. You guys got that?
Those were
movies,
Austrians. Okay.
What movies with,
just kidding.
What movies when they like take a demographic and they make them be the antagonist in it, like any crime movies? It's always like the Russians. Russians
are always.
It's always the Russians
because they're white and they can get away with it. I like when you see like movies like Hollywood movies and like the guy gets beat up by like a biracial street gang. It's like a white guy, a black guy, and a Mexican. Hey, motherfucker! I'm like that. That never happens. There's no like gangs are very racial. There is no biracial street gang roaming the streets to beat up old white men. Like that's just not a thing.
Oh no, we're not.
The funniest thing is when you watch when you watch like Chinese movie, like kung fu movies, where they go after like organized crime guys and they're all like Filipino or something like that. Like they're all like other Asians, but they're like the brown Asians.
Yeah.
What comedian talks about it where they say Asians are very particular to what Asian you are?
Oh, I don't know.
Because there's a comedian.
Is it Joe Coy?
I've seen a lot of Asian comedians. That's kind of a central thing that a lot of Asian comedians tell stories about, because that's like something that's really deeply ingrained in Asian culture.
Well, so like I'm watching the show called Kim's Convenience.
Yeah.
And it's pretty funny because
it's on what? It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix, and like it's a Korean shop owner in Toronto, and he like got accused of like being homophobic during Gay Pride Week, and he's like, I'm not homophobic, and so I'm watching it, but he hates Japanese, and he's like, in 1910, Japan attacked Korea, and so like if there's a car that's illegally parked and it's a Japanese-made vehicle, he calls the cops. But then one time his daughter's like, "What about them? They're parked illegally," and he's like, "That is Hyundai. They are fine."
Well, it's like
Chinese people aren't really akin to, or aren't really too fond of Japanese people either, from the whole invasion of Manchuria thing and everything. Like,
there's like
China's
massive
having an issue right now because the citizens of China are rooting for China to lose in the Olympics.
Are they really?
And the Hong Kong people are like cheering for the Japanese.
They are rooting for China to lose, and the CCP is like, I don't like this,
dude. It's only a matter of time until the U.S. starts shipping guns into China. Like, it's gonna.
They've done it before, man.
I mean, it's only
one conflict after the CIA has been created that hasn't had American funded arms.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I mean, it's only a matter of time. You're gonna start seeing people infiltrate and these rebel groups start to rise up that we're 100% behind, and it's gonna bite us in the ass like it always does 20 years later. And
we're fighting them.
Yeah, because we're gonna end up fighting them. I mean, what was it Dave Smith said? If you want to look or find out who America's next enemy is, look at who they're currently funding. Like that rings true so often.
And then all the media movies are gonna have new antagonists.
Yeah. U.S. military is in like Nepal or some shit, and we're fighting the fucking Nepali Taliban there. Like,
we don't even know who we're fighting anymore, dude. It's like
Luxembourg was such a nice country. What happened?
The U.S. happened. That's what.
They're that one.
Time for some freedom.
I love the story about Luxembourg, how they sent 80 men to go fight a war and they came back with 81.
Luxembourg did?
Yeah.
What a bunch of badasses.
They went to go fight, and then like someone's like, "Hey, you guys are nice," and then they came back and they made a friend.
Australia lost a war against emus, so
they apparently this wasn't the first time they lost to animals.
And
I think
Australian animals are like from a different planet. Dude.
They really are. They're like fucking aliens.
I had to like
down
look
there.
it up and like what happened, and for some reason they just because like they literally went to war against emus. They brought out the machine guns. They brought out everything.
How do you lose to animals? Don't get out of the fucking car.
They're fast.
It's not like they can shoot you.
You can't shoot them. Yeah, they're fast, dude. You can't shoot them.
guess.
I'm looking it up right now because
Emus are big birds, right?
They're like the emus were like the
ostriches.
Taliban, man. They didn't have to win the war; they just had to not lose.
Yeah, it's like a war of attrition,
And
basically.
they won
Yeah.
the war of attrition against the Australians who pulled out.
They gave up against the emus.
The emus are the North Vietnamese army of Australia.
Literally.
Just as vicious.
I mean, would you consider Afghanistan? Would you consider we lost?
I mean, they're pulling troops out.
We didn't win. That's the thing.
We definitely didn't win. But
I think it's a loss with all the damage that's been done because of it.
I don't. Afghanistan's just really weird, man. It's like
graveyard of empires.
So basically, what happened is, in the later part of 1932, they needed to have a wildlife management, military operation. Let's make that clear. It was a military operation for wildlife management because the emus were destroying all the crops, and they went out there to kill them. They had Lewis guns, which in 1932, those were like one of the heavy automatic. If you ever played Battlefield, you get the Lewis gun.
Yeah.
And they couldn't kill them because it kept raining and the emus would scatter. So they would corral them, then it'd rain, and then the emus would just leave. And so they're trying to find these emus, and they just couldn't do it.
If you think about it, we like in the U.S.
That's kind of the Taliban too, you know.
Well, yeah, no, but like in the U.S., it's never been like we send the military out, but we've had wars against animals, dude. Look at like the wild hogs in Texas and Arkansas. Like they'll pay you to sit on a helicopter with a machine gun and kill 1,000 of those things because they can't get rid of them. Fucking like, I mean, there's the water mussels that take over lakes and shit. Even here, like in Nebraska and Papillion, they were hiring people to go shoot mountain lions because they kept going into the neighborhood and killing people's pets.
Carp too in the Missouri.
Gators in Florida, yeah.
Invasive species are like actual, like out South Dakota and western parts of Nebraska, farmers will pay you to shoot prairie dogs.
Yep, prairie dogs, rattlesnakes too. Yep.
The hogs down south is something. Here's the thing. This is not a joke. I don't think enough people are talking about how disastrous the hogs are.
Oh, it's terrible.
People. It has to be so bad that a tourist company will pay. You'll pay, and they'll fly you in a helicopter to go kill hogs.
Yeah. So I say, you seriously with like a machine gun, you just gun them down.
I know someone, and he was like a sniper in the Marines, and so he was talking about how he killed like 90 hogs in an hour with just a handgun from a helicopter.
Yeah, I would totally do that. That kind of sounds fun. I'm not gonna lie.
He owns a farm down there, and he's talking about it's terrible, and he knows a helicopter guy too. So it's not like you had to pay for anything, but he's like, it's so bad. Like we would kill over 100 hogs in one day.
Yeah,
and it still wouldn't be enough.
No, they're so bad, and I have a friend that's from Michigan that was telling me there's this part in like northern Michigan, like you're basically up into Canada at that point. There's this like kind of like village type area that's just overrun by wolves, and the wolves will break into your house while you're gone or in the middle of the night when you're sleeping terrifying. And shit. And he's like, you got to have like reinforced doors. You got to be strapped 24/7, like, cause you never know when you're going to run into these fucking wolves.
It's like that with bears up in like Alaska.
Yep.
Like bears are a really common problem of like getting into your trash and stuff and like breaking into your house to like eat food and stuff.
But like at some point we have to like admit like this is also like their land and we're kind of new to them. But at another point there are species of animals that are invasive regardless of it.
Dude, the thing is like when people pull that card about like, you know, we took their land, I'm like, dude, I'm team human. I don't know what you want me to say.
I'm saying but like I'm team human. It's more the sense of don't be surprised when they act this way. That's what
sure.
Yeah, don't be surprised when they're going in. Like you're a new structure in their environment.
Yeah, I mean animals disrupt each other's ecosystems all the time too. It's not like it's just a thing humans do.
Shifting to balance.
Yeah, are there gonna be protesters that are like fucking protesting bears eating honeycombs and shit?
They always do.
The bears, stop the bears from eating the honey. Like they're
I still wanna kill hogs. So
I do too.
Yeah,
I do. I want to do that. So that tweet.
Well, those hogs, they're not
ago-
just bad for humans, they're bad for the environment.
Yeah, because they kill everything.
Kill
Yeah.
everything. It's not just humans that they're bad for, it's every animal.
What was it a few years ago on Twitter where there's like that AR argument happening, and the dude's like, okay, yeah, but what if 30 to 50 feral hogs run through my yard when my kids are playing 2 to 3 feet away?
Yeah.
And someone's like, that's a funny joke, and I'm like, that's not a joke.
That happens.
That will happen.
I don't even argue with gun control people anymore. Those people are so fucking retarded, and nothing's actually going to get passed because they're so ridiculous. If you don't want an AR-15 ban, it's because you want kids to die. I'm like, no, I want your kids to die, but not from an AR-15. Like, I just want them because you fucking annoy me. You know what I mean? Like,
I think the gun ban people, they just don't base any of their arguments off of like actual like
reason.
You know what I mean? Like the pro gun people win that argument every time because
They
it's
always
like
do.
If anybody ever bases their argument off of emotions,
Yeah.
they don't fucking change legislation.
No.
I'm tired of the people that are like, oh, we can convince them. Like, you know, like you can't convince people.
No.
Like at some point, the people cannot be convinced into.
You
any
can only
argument.
convince people that are on the fence and
You
don't
can
know
convince
what
the
side
people
to
that
make.
like ask you questions wanting to know. Those you can convince. But
Dude.
when you go up to people who are just adamant about their position, no matter how much you put in front of them, then just stop. It's not worth it.
The only thing you can do is counter what they're saying and make what they like, basically show that their argument is not the good argument. You know what
exactly.
I mean? I guess. I don't know.
Dude, there's the California assault weapon ban just got struck down.
Mhm.
Did you see that?
Mhm.
And they're gonna appeal it to the eighth circuit court or whatever,
What's
which
the
is
terrible one? Is that the Ninth
historically
Circuit?
anti-gun, or no, maybe it's the Ninth Circuit.
I
It's
think
the one
it's the
right
Ninth
before the
Circuit,
Supreme
yeah.
Court. Yeah, the Eighth Circuit Court struck it down. The Ninth Circuit Court is like historically fucking biased and anti-gun.
Communist.
Yeah, basically. So they're probably gonna put a stay on it. And they're freaking out though, because it's going to go to the Supreme Court, which is a 6-3 conservative majority. And you're talking every assault weapons ban in the country is going to get struck down after that. They won't be able to pass it ever again. Even Ronald Reagan, that communist son of a bitch, Ronald Reagan, who is anti-fucking handgun. Fuck him. Fuck Ronald Reagan. There, I said it.
Oh no, I'm playing that
Because he's from he's a California governor, man.
That's he's a fucking California fake conservative who fucking fuck Ronald Reagan. Dude, I'll say it right here.
We talk about people like fleeing California in droves, like it's a fucking war zone right now, man. But dude, like even my buddy who lives in Utah is telling me about how the housing market sucks there right now, or what it's really super seller friendly. Yeah, because all these people leaving California, like fleeing there and moving to like, Utah.
Colorado's like that.
Yeah.
So Wyoming is beautiful, but the area of Wyoming that's terrible is Jackson because it's where all the billionaires go.
Oh, okay.
So you can find a 2-bed, 1-bath house on not even an acre of land in town, and it's $1 million.
Jesus.
And that same house is $180,000 here.
Jesus.
It's
just, fucking tree house is $180,000 here.
Yeah,
it's fucking ridiculous.
And like Montana, like Bozeman and Helena and Missoula, like they're all doing the same thing. It's like people are leaving these states and then they're like, oh, let's just live here. That's a beautiful area, and then they go live there. And then, but good thing they painted the South as a bunch of racist hicks because no one wants to move down there, and you can still find cheap houses and it's a gorgeous area. So, but except for Nashville, Tennessee, that apparently is like booming with people.
Yeah, Nashville, Boise's blowing up too. Austin's blowing up, and you know what's funny is these cities that have these booms, they're always followed by homelessness and just disaster. Like, because people move there and they're not as successful as they think they're gonna be, and it's just.
But like when it comes to like,
the homeless, I think the homeless is more of like there's a big homeless problem in those like parts like in Cali's because everybody becomes homeless. Like everybody's that's already homeless just goes to those places.
They travel, like, dude. There's a Facebook group called Hobo Mingle. Yeah. Literally, and it's where they like talk about where they're going next and where they're gonna meet up at and shit like that. And it's funny, like it's funny to people watch on it because they'll follow it and they'll be like, "This guy stole my meth." Like, be on the lookout.
That's hilarious.
Like it's such like a huge problem. Like I look at this because at some point you get like sympathetic to it and you're like, all right, maybe there are people in this mess that want to be helped, but then there are people like I swear they chose to go down this path and they didn't want to.
Dude, no, here's the thing, man. There's plenty of people that want to be helped that are down on their luck, and you know where those people are? They're in shelters. You know why the people that are on the streets aren't in shelters? Because they tell you can't drink or do drugs while you're there. That's and they'd rather do drugs than have somewhere to live. And you know what? At some point, I understand addiction's a terrible disease and whatnot, but at some point, personal responsibility has to come into it, and I don't feel bad for these people.
There
like,
is
it is what it is, man.
So when I was in Germany, there's some of the homeless people, when they come up, they will just come up to you with a cup and like they're asking for money. And the guys I was with was like,
I put job applications.
They're just like you need to avoid them. Like actually putting money doesn't help them. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, well, you know, and he's like, this is a bad example, but like how prostitutes have pimps, so do these people asking for change. And so you'll give them 100 euros and they'll have to give 70 of that to whatever pimp they're at, and they only get to keep 30 of it. So when you give them food, they get upset because it's not like buying alcohol or drugs. It's like they have to give that to someone. So if you give them food, they're like, I can't, this doesn't help me. I'll just get beat by whoever's controlling me.
I think
there's only one homeless person I've ever done anything nice for, and there's a ex-army veteran guy that hangs out in the gas station where I buy my like beer and shit from up the street. I bought him cigarettes one time on a thunderstorm, and that's it.
I had a guy outside of Walgreens one time come up to me and ask me. Well, first off, I hate when people help homeless people and they record it and post it on social media.
That's terrible.
I think that's shitty.
Just do it.
I had a guy come up to me and ask me at a Walgreens if he could have like if I could get him a sandwich or something. And I was working at Lowe's and I was like in college and I was broke, man. And like when they ask me for food, I'm a lot more sympathetic because you can't spend food on drugs and alcohol, right? And you know, I know some people are like, I don't care if they buy drugs or alcohol. My personal experience with drug addicts and alcoholics, I'm not gonna be the one that, you know, promotes
enables
that.
them,
I'm not gonna be the enabler. I won't do it because I have experiences with it. But if they ask me for food, I will help them. And I spent like I had $15 to my name, and I'm like, yeah, I'll get you a sandwich, bro. Like it's just a human thing to do. There's a difference between that and just wanting money. When they want food, if they come up and ask me for a Slim Jim or something like that, or McDonald's, I'm like, yeah, I'll get that for you. That's fine. But I'm not gonna give somebody money. No, fuck that shit.
That's the problem with it. Where it's like a lot of people like with homeless people is like there's a ton of shelters. Like literally, how they'll employ the people at the shelters is they'll get them to go out and go find other homeless people to bring to the shelter so they can get them off the streets. And so it's like, I don't know, man. It's really hard for me to feel bad for the guys on the streets because it's like
well, like, so when I was working at Omaha Steaks, those temporary positions are, a lot of them are people in halfway, or they're from the shelters and they're coming up and they need money. And so during COVID, when they're offering free lunches provided, not only are the owners of Omaha Steaks the cheapest people I've ever met in my life, because the meals we were getting, like even a homeless person was like, what is this? Yeah. And so we were getting these, but whatever, it was free food. So we were getting a lot of homeless people who were applying and everything. But there are people who I was like, while I'm there and I'm listening to them talk about their situation and everything, there are some people who are like, I'm here to work. That's what I'm doing. Like I got moved, things happen. I was like, all right, dude, I respect that. You took a job, you're wanting to earn money. You're a good man. But then I'm hearing other people and they're literally talking about how they're going to spend their money on alcohol and bring it back to the halfway house, or they're going to like buy drugs. I'm like, there are so many people that got fired because they had crack on them. They brought in pills. And I'm like, how am I supposed to feel sorry for you when you're doing this just so you get, because that's what they'll do is they'll work for 2 weeks, get that paycheck, then bounce. And they have to keep funneling in new people.
It's like, it's hard to, I think it's hard for like state governments or whoever to like come up with these like problems to address this, because it's more of a symptom, I think, than an actual like ailment.
It's a symptom, and it creates a political image for them.
Well, and that's, you know, people say, oh, we need to help the homeless. A lot of times, man, the homeless don't want to be helped. The ones that do want to be helped are getting help because there is help there, and it's not just from the government. Like, what are you going to do, man? Are you going to build fucking houses for them to stay in? That place is going to be a hole. It's going to be worse than being homeless. You know what I mean? Like,
the areas of the country that it relies more on personal responsibility to buy a house, get a job, and there's not a lot of opportunities for help, tend to not have an issue with
no handouts.
Because they all moved to California and shit and get the handouts and stuff. So they just leave.
I swear I was on one of those like what would you do hidden camera shows one time. Like where they try to like they'll cut everyone else out, but like the one person to like try to make you look like a racist and shit like that.
Right.
I was at a gas station pumping gas one time, and this older black couple walks up to me and they're like, they're real nice and polite and everything. Excuse me, sir, do you have a couple dollars for us to buy some food with? And I genuinely didn't have cash on me. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't have any cash. And they're like, okay, thank you. Have a blessed day. And they go and they walk over to the corner and they just stand on the corner. Not 30 seconds later, this white woman that they looked like they fucking plucked out of a trailer park, smoking a cigarette, fucking neck tattoos that are poorly done and shit like that, walked up to me. Hey, can I have a couple bucks? And I just went, nope. And I walked away. Like, I swear, like the timing of that, it had to be, it had to like, no, it's not a race thing. I hate poor people no matter what color they are. Okay. Jesus Christ. Like, they're trashy no matter what color. Like, right. Well, and like, the black couple, like they didn't look like homeless people that would be asking for money. They looked like they were actors. That was what was weird to me. Is they like that lady? She looked like she got plucked out of trailer park. The couple, they did not look like a homeless couple. They looked like they were dressed like from the 1920s, which is why I was suspicious. Like they were definitely like, it looks like somebody dressed them, like hobos from the 20s. And I'm like, this doesn't look right. Like, and you guys don't have like the scars and the dirt and shit.
Yeah,
like,
were they all clean too?
Yeah, they were clean. Like they looked like they shower. I'm like, nah, like someone did a poor job dressing you guys up. Like this ain't real.
So this actually for some reason spurred something that reminds me of that I absolutely hate, and it's one thing that I just cannot stand by. Squatters' rights.
Oh,
it's
going
on
the
the
worst.
other people's property, and just California
Taking
has
it
one of
over,
the worst. Yeah. And some of them are like, it's like 30 days is as long as you can stay there. I was like, what do you mean 30 days? Because there's someone who I saw a video where like it was their grandparents' property. The grandparents died, and so they're coming back to check on it because they're now legally entitled to it through the will or whatever.
Yeah.
And this dude's just in a camper on it, and he's like, "Dude, you gotta get off." He's like, "No, I know my squatter rights." Like, you're gonna look up the law just so you know how long you have to sit there.
It's fucking ridiculous.
And there's one in like California.
That's why people are leaving that state. Like fucking, It's got the bubonic plague, man.
There's one in California where like homeless people hopped this dude's fence and they went out to his backyard and started posting up in tents. And the dude's like,
dude, you do that in Nebraska, you get shot.
I know. And the dude's like, he's like, I called the cops. I was like, look, I need them off my property. Removed them. The cops said, if you touch them, we'll arrest you.
Are you fucking kidding? What a joke, man.
And I'm just like, no, like what happened to property rights?
There's none. They don't exist anymore. I mean,
if you have to pay property taxes.
You don't have property in those kind of places, man. No. It's everyone's property. We share it. You know, be nice. Don't you have a heart, dude? Like,
don't you have a heart? What do you mean? They just walked on my property. Who knows what they're doing?
I think California and Massachusetts are the only states where you have a duty to retreat in your own home. Like if you're in danger, you have to leave. Like before you have a right to defend yourself. Like you have to get out.
Oh, it's one of those. It's like you have to prove you tried your best to get away.
See, here it's not a stand your ground state unless you're in your home or your vehicle, right? If you're in
which honestly is like the most common places where like it would be like that, you know what I mean?
Well, like
it's not that bad.
Like Justin at Chili's. If Justin would have decked that guy and didn't try to like remove himself from the situation first, he would have been arrested.
Right.
You know, but if the guy did have him cornered at one point against the bar. So if Justin just would have swung and hit this guy, he could say, "Look, I was being threatened."
Look, man, and here's another thing too with that is that you have all these witnesses there that would say like this guy approached Justin. He was yelling at him for not a good reason.
He went up to him.
Yeah.
He cornered him.
For the most point, like I think when it comes to stuff like that, you might have to deal with going to a court or something if that guy's got money to press charges. But most of the times,
that guy does not have money to press charges.
Yeah, exactly.
Fearing for my life at 9:30 at a
You could just go the Jake Gardner route and just shoot yourself. Did you see they buried him?
I don't think
they buried him at Arlington National Cemetery.
Is he a vet?
He's a Marine.
I don't think he's dead. I think he's in witness protection.
I don't think he's in witness protection.
I don't think he's dead.
So he I read the obituary for him, right? And it was like Jake, a decorated Marine war hero, was out defending his property from a 3-time convicted violent felon. And it was just like this huge spin on it and shit. Like it was wild though. But yeah, so
wasn't it his dad that like yelled at them first?
His dad was the one that got knocked over.
Apparently,
I don't know
there's
what
like
happened.
messages on Facebook that they found that kind of would like incriminated Jake Gardner.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
I don't really care much about it.
No.
I just want to know.
It's a fucking riot, man. That kind of shit happens at riots. That's why riots aren't that's why riots aren't really like something that should happen all the time.
Yeah.
I was listening to Joe Rogan and Tim Dillon. They're talking about the riots, and it's like the normal person should be able to look at this and be like, something's up. There's no reason because he's like, I worked in construction. Pallets of bricks just don't show up.
Right. No, they don't. Yeah, there's provocateurs. We were talking on our last episode. They're provocateur, like federal provocateurs that engage in this shit, and they're the ones that rile people up. Like if a peaceful protest turns into a riot, 9 times out of 10 it was a Fed that incited it. 9 times out of 10.
That is, like, isn't that a CIA operation that they
FBI.
have?
FBI. Yeah. If there's like, you hear about like these militias all over, like these right-wing militias. It's usually just a bunch of fat rednecks shooting guns in the woods. Those groups don't get violent until the feds infiltrate them. That's every time. Like,
it's almost like that thing where it's like,
job, man.
Yeah.
If I know about your militia and I can easily access information about you, you're probably a Fed.
Yeah. Your militia should not have a website. You know what I mean? Like, that's your militia's Facebook. Yeah, your LLC, and it's all getting a little shifty here.
Bank and got a business credit card.
Yeah, a business credit card for their militia.
For the Freedom Brigade.
To buy, they're the Freedom Rangers. We need to buy guns and ammo and explosives and shit.
We're doing a hog roast if you want to come by, a little fundraiser.
Yeah, it's like, they have a fish fry, and that's so. We were talking about gas station. We got to wrap this up pretty soon here, but we were talking about gas station. What time's your game?
I have to be there at 2, about 15 minutes away.
Oh, okay. We were talking about gas stations. There's this hotel by me that's infamous. It's called the Carlisle Hotel. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's right by the interstate, and it's $23 a night.
Oh,
know someone that stayed there because it was cheap.
Is there a lot of hooking going
Prostitution
on
and drug dealing. Yeah, he found like used needles in his sink and shit like that and stuff like that. It was like, he's like, it's cheap, man. I'm like, yeah, but you don't know.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah, literally.
I just did drugs on your show. How do you feel about that?
That's fine. I don't care. We do drugs on here all the time. But there's this guy. They're pain relievers. Chill out. Not hard shit. It's not even Oxycontin or any of that stuff. No, so they're infamous for like going to this Buc-ee's that's across the street and starting shit. People from the Carlisle. And one time, a cashier who had been robbed.
Dude, like, my fucking my mother-in-law, I think, worked at that fucking Buc-ee's, dude.
Yeah.
It's like they do like conventions over there all the time too. So she saw somebody fucking jump into a guy's car while he was paying for shit. Drive off, but then the guy jumped on and was like holding onto the windshield wipers on the hood of the car. Yeah, she saw that shit happen at work at a fucking Buc-ee's, dude.
They're infamous for that. So they would go up and they would rob it and shit like that. And there was one cashier who was on the news like, I've been robbed at gunpoint 9 or 10 times. Like, he just got tired of it.
What, Buc-ee's?
Dude grabbed like a cash register or something and just started beating the guy unconscious with it. And he was fired for it.
No, you get fired if you.
Yeah, there's some gas stations that tell you not to. Yeah, there's some gas stations that tell you to try and like haggle with the robbers and like hide money and shit like that. It's like Mega Savers and shit.
So the thing, it's funny because like at banks,
the fucking Russian owned ones were like, no, just tell them you don't have the money.
Yeah, you don't have the money.
It's not real.
Play dumb.
It's not real money.
Yeah,
but that's the thing. Like with banks, is like, it's like if we get robbed, it's like just take the money, dude.
Yeah, who fucking cares? Yeah,
like, it's not.
Yeah, it's FDIC insured.
It's not that much money, dude.
I was that's why you balance your tills and shit. But no, I was pulling in one time. I really had to pee one night, and I pull into this Buc-ee's. And as I'm pulling in, there's this girl there. And mind you, it's middle of January. It's not even 10 degrees out. Right at 108th and L. There's this girl there, and she's got it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. She's got jet black hair. She's got like a skirt on, and like a tank top, like not dressed for the weather. Right. And she's got like black eyeshadow running down her eyes. Oh no. And she's standing there with 2 thumbs up like a hitchhiker, and her head's cocked like that, like The Grudge. And she's got this big old smile on her face. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, at this point, I'm like, how bad do I have to pee? So I pull into my fucking car, I pull into the parking lot, and I'm like unbuckling my seatbelt to run in and pee and run back out. And next thing I know, this girl's like 3 feet from my car, and she's walking up with the smile on her face and the thumbs up, like she's gonna ask me for a ride. I'm like, fuck it, I'll pee at home. I don't care. And I like took off. I'm like, we're not doing this today. Absolutely not. I don't have my gun with me. Absolutely not. I don't want any interaction with this woman. So I went back the next night because I was in the area again, and I was like, hey, what happened with that girl? And he goes, oh, makeup girl? He's like, yeah, we had to call the cops because she was walking in the middle of the street up to cars. Well, and I had a friend that was like, I always try to see the good in people. I probably would have picked her up and given her a ride to a hospital. I'm like, yeah, and that's why they're going to find you in a ditch and not me. Like that kind of shit.
That's one of those creepy things where you'll see the girl and you're like, oh, let me help you. And then a van pulls up.
Yeah. Well, it's like, Yeah, exactly. It's the damsel in distress, and it's usually women that fall for it. You know what I mean? Like, well, Mia had one time. She used to work at a frozen yogurt shop for a second job, and this escaped mental patient showed up and like sat there with them, and she tried to call like the security guards for the area, and the security guard's like, well, my shift ends in 15 minutes. Yep. So he never showed up. And they had to sit there and wait for the cops to show up with this escaped mental patient sitting. It was like a fucking scene of a horror movie, right? Like the lady still had the bracelet on and everything. And I'm like, next time that happens, call me. Because I'll actually show up strapped, unlike Paul fucking Blart that's too concerned about going to get his sandwich. You know, like, fuck that. I'll show up and, like, I'll sit there with you till the cops come. If she tries anything, then it'll be, you know.
There's a reason those security guard services get paid, like, $12 an hour.
And they're not trusted to carry a gun because they're not fucking qualified to. Because most of them are fucking idiots.
They're like, just there to fucking...
Call the cops.
They'll say something about security is like presence is like the biggest thing that'll deter any kind of thing.
Or like just report. Yeah, they just report it.
All you do is you flash a light, you write a report, call the cops.
Call the real cops.
Presence is deterrence. That's it.
It is. Yep.
Yeah. They're not gonna do anything. No. Yeah, that's my thing. Is like you see like these shit at the malls and stuff like that. They don't fucking respect them. I have no respect for mall cops. Most people shouldn't. You know what I mean? Like
the only ones that are like actual police forces that are like security or whatever are like university police are like actual police force that will like fucking do police stuff to you.
One of the guys at UNO it was like no joke, he was like an ex-army ranger, and like he was like retired from the military, and he's showing it's still built. Dude's 65, looks like he's 40.
Oh, those guys will fuck you up.
Just built. And like we're doing like an event, like a pro gun event or whatever, and then he just comes over and he's just like, hey, I like what you guys are doing, whatever. And then like across from us, the socialists were like having like a bake sale, whatever. So the security guard goes over like gets handed like something from them, like, here you go, man, thank you, like we want to show like how great like us socialists are. He's like, oh, that's cool, walks back over and hands us the food they gave him.
Hell yeah, man,
that's awesome.
Dude was awesome. He's like, yeah, if anything happens, just let me know and I'll take
care of it. That's one thing I miss about living in Omaha is driving up Dodge Street,
seeing the protests,
seeing the whoever from UNO doing like fucking free the nipple. I wish I could have seen a free the nipple thing. That would have been cool to drive back. Like, hell yeah, dude.
On 72nd and Dodge, the ones I've seen, like there was like the peace, no war. I've seen the dudes that put blood on their crotches because of like anti-circumcision.
Oh yeah, those guys are crazy.
That's such a funny thing to like protest.
I've seen the Burmese Karens were protesting. They wanted the U.S. to intervene in Burma. I'm like, you guys should research the history of U.S. intervention before you ask for it. Like,
I'm going to protest the U.S. needing to intervene in a foreign matter, and the best way to do that is stand underneath the Crossroads Mall. At
like what's Jean Stothert going to do to help you?
Not much.
No, she'll just kill her husband again. Anyway,
that's.
Remember, this is a satire show. This is a comedy show. We can hide behind satire laws. So
exactly.
This has been Bread and Circuses.
Jacob's got a baseball game.
Jacob's got to go play some baseball. I got to go to brunch.
I'm going to move for baseball. I got all the baseball stuff.
Fuck yeah. All right. This has been Bread and Circuses. Peace the fuck out,
everyone.
motherfuckers.
Thank you.
Deuces.